What is up, guys? And we are back in this new year. There's going to be more conventions coming up: anime, comic book convention, car shows, and even maybe some fashion shoots that we'll be doing. A couple weeks ago, I attended this anime convention. It's a free one in University of Chicago. It's called Uchicon. It's a good way to gather up with people, catch up, and find out what everyone's up to for this year, like which conventions they're going to be going to and such. Before going to this convention, I was thinking like, okay, so what should I bring, for photo or video, right? What's my goal for that convention and possibly for the rest of the year? From last year when I was doing some photo and video on all this convention, each time that I attend, I tend to bring lighter and lighter equipment because in the beginning you go all out, you bring all these big lenses, lights, and complicated shoots with all these big diffusers and such. Same thing, using gimbal and all that stuff. But as more convention that I've been attending to, I tend to bring less and less and less equipment. There's a lot of good reason why. First off, it's more discreet, staying away from a prying eyes of, there's people out there that might be eyeing your equipment. You don't know what's going to happen, right? At the same time, kind of like not draw too much attention from the people or even the officials, right? Unless you're doing some kind of professional work, then obviously you bring all your guns, your big guns. You gotta dress up and look the part, right? But for something like, okay, I want something, a snapshot, like a really quick one, nothing too complicated, a really fast one, and at the same time, you don't want to crowd an already crowd convention. Obviously, you want to bring something more nimble, more mobile. If you have already scheduled like an actual shoot with someone, then obviously, yeah, bring your big equipment because that's a paid shoot, right? Or a private shoot. But in this video, what we're going to be talking about is actually a lens that I purchased called Viltrox 24mm 1.8 lens, and it's a prime lens for my Nikon Z5. When I'm using my Z5 in every event, if I'm doing videos or photography, I use the adapter, right? So, I have a lot of f-mount lenses that is like 24 to 75, and if you have the adapter on it, the lens is just so heavy. It's extending out in the on my camera. So I need something small and nimble. So especially if I'm doing anime conventions tend to be very crowded place where there's a lot of people. You're pretty much like shoulder to shoulder with someone when you're walking through things, and literally lugging the equipment. And if it's like really bulky, it gets tiresome. It hurts your back. You bump into people. You don't know what you're gonna damage. I tried to look for a pancake lens, but they don't have them available for my Nikon Z5. Not so much for the focal length that I'm looking for. Here are my list of what I'm looking for. First, I want it to be light. Second, I want it to be pancake. If I can get a pancake, that'd be great. Third is it'll be good for video because I do photography and video. And one is wide enough that I can use it for portrait and not too wide where I can't use it for portrait. And yeah, so I decided to get that 24 millimeter. Here it is. It's mounted to my Z5. It's not super big, but if I had my 24 to 70, it's gonna be like out there with the adapter that is like almost 2 inch. So it's gonna be like that much. But with this, it's so light and nimble. It's great, and the video is excellent because it's also good for video. See this? So here's the Viltrox lens. So, and it's all like actually metal construction. It's nothing so much plasticky about it. It's pretty cool. And for the video side on things, so normally you'd use like there's this aperture ring in here that you can use. It's all manual aperture ring. So It's stepless, is that what I call it? Where it doesn't click. So you can actually control your aperture manually in here. And you can also put it on the automatic. So where's the automatic? Like in here, there's this automatic in here. Is that it? Oh, here we go. See how I could click it to that automatic? And then I can click it to manual. So yeah, so you can put in automatic where you can actually control the aperture right on the camera itself, but then obviously you'd hear that click, you know. That's the only downside of it. But if you want to adjust it manually on your lens, you can do it. I tested it out for the first time on Uchicon and see how it fares, right? And obviously at the same time, another note I forgot to say that I want it to be light enough that I can put it on my gimbal, because I have the Evo Rage 3 gimbal, and it can only sustain, I believe, up to 8 pounds or 9 pounds. And if I'm gonna put like a lot more attachment on it, like the cage, you know, it all adds up. Because if I put in that 24-75 or even my 35mm Sigma lens, Sigma art lens, it's just heavy. They're almost like 1 pound the way when I was lifting it. If I have to compare these Sigma and this is like way lighter. It's crazy light. I mean, this Viltrox lens is like, I think it's 12.5 ounces. People actually don't know much about this, that, you know, your cell phone, these guys over here, majority of iPhones and Samsung phones and stuff, the focal length of the lens itself is actually 24mm. So that's why it looks pretty good. And plus, when you do some video or photo with the phone, especially if you're like in a convention, it's like widely used. And I think there's certain video content creator uses phone as their main video. You know, it can shoot 4K, maybe now just like 8K now. iPhone can shoot 8K, you know. Yeah, so that's the purpose why 24mm would be the, I'd say the standard, I would think, if you're doing convention stuff. So, but yeah, so I tested it out on Uchicon for the first time. A lot of these conventions that I go to is mostly my testing phase, because by the time I get an actual paid client, that's prime time stuff. That's the stuff that I have to know how to use the equipment. I have to be confident using it and stuff. So conventions are like practice run for me, really. So, and it's more for fun, you know. So yeah, so I tested it out and here are my results. So you should probably check it out. If you're wondering what color grading software that I use for video clips that I shot at Uchicon, the application is called Dehancer. Dehancer is a film emulation tool plugin for Adobe After Effects, Adobe Premiere, Final Cut Pro, and DaVinci Resolve. If you're looking for an app for a phone, it is available in iPhone if you're one of those people that likes to do short form video. They don't have them on Android yet, but hopefully one day they will. If you're interested in purchasing this software, you can save 10% discount by using Photo Videoist. A little bit of full disclosure, if you end up purchasing the software, I'll get some form of commission, which helps me out grow this YouTube channel as well as the content that I put out there. So the Viltrox 24mm 1.8, I was actually very impressed. Should I start using this in conventions now? You know, well, depending. So for anime comic book convention, when there's so many crowds where you're like elbow to elbow with everyone, I highly suggest you should get it. So it's very light, like I said. If you can get it in pancake version, then good for you, you know. Now, you might question how good is it in portrait. Actually, it went really good, as you've seen in this video that I have here. But in terms of skill-wise, I'd say you have to be a little bit advanced skill-wise. You can't just like point and shoot, you know. You have to compose your shots. So 24mm is pretty wide. Composing your subject incorrectly is not gonna look good. You're probably not gonna be happy with that lens because of the distortion on the edges. You have to know which composition, angle of the shot that you need to do or intent in order to make the person look good. Otherwise, they'll look like alien with their foreheads all big and stuff. You have to, I would highly recommend actually, including the environment. So it's also perfect for video. If you're in the gimbal, you don't want something heavy, something shorter than extending out in front of the lens. It's kind of like half a cake. Instead of pancake, I go half a cake because it's still kind of like pancake in a way. You need that bokeh as well, right? Because a lot of pancake lens, I think from what I found for my Z5, there is a 24mm, but it's a DX, it's a crop lens. I think they also have a 26 or 28 mil. There you go. There's a 28. It's a pancake one. That's 2.8. There's 28. I'll just use my 28 to 75. Video wise, I think it's like close enough that I can still see a wider range of view than, you know, my 35 mil. A lot of times conventions, they're, like I said, they're crowded place, you know. It's just a lot of people there. Or you're gonna have to go further back just to shoot the shot that you want, and then people are gonna be passing by across you, or you tell them to like, oh hey, you're getting in my way of my shot, you know. Like you want it to be kind of accommodating to other people too, because sometimes a lot of them are not even aware that you're videoing or doing photography of someone, you know. But in terms of, let's say, car shows, it's I haven't tried it yet, but I plan to do so as well. I mean, car show is a little bit more, you know, it's not as crowded place because the room is just like so huge that you can just like have a 50 mil 35 mil lens. Even I've seen people shooting a 200 mil with their long lens and shooting from far away just to take a photo of a car. It's a different animal, but when it comes to comic convention and anime convention, if you want something, a happy medium of wide that you can also do portrait, the focal length of 24mm it's just perfect. Anyways, guys, until next time, see ya.